your Brut Metodo Classico degli Angeli 2018 won this very prestigious award. You know, their sparkling wines produced to be singled out as the best sparkling wine is a huge achievement.
Thank you.
Welcome to Wine, Food and Travel with me, Marc Millon, on Italian Wine Podcast. Listen in as we journey to some of Italy's most beautiful places in the company of those who know them best, the families who grow grapes and make fabulous wines. Through their stories, we will learn not just about their wines, but also about their ways of life, the local and regional foods and specialities that pair naturally with their wines, and the most beautiful places to visit. We have a wonderful journey of discovery ahead of us, and I hope you will join me. Today, I'm delighted to continue a special sub-series that highlights the winners of the prestigious 5-star Wines and Wines Without Walls competition that took place in April, just prior to Vinitaly 2024. Those wines that scored more than 90 points were awarded certificates and have been included in the 5-star Wines and Wines Without Walls 2025 book, while the very best wines in each category were singled out for special awards. Today we travel to Lombardy, to the province of Bergamo, to meet my guest Roberta Testa at her family wine estate and acciaieria Tenuta degli Angeli, which has this year won the prestigious 5-star Wines Award for Best Sparkling Wine for its Brut Metodo Classico degli Angeli 2018, which scored 95 points. Now, good and great sparkling wines are being made all over Italy, so this is a huge achievement to be singled out as the best sparkling wine. Many congratulations, Roberta, to you and to your family. How are you today, and is it a beautiful day in Lombardy?
Hello, thank you so much. I'm very fine and happy. Today is not a sunny day, but we hope the next days. We have just harvest our grapes, and so everything is going to fermentate in the cellar.
Okay, so it's a very busy time of the year.
Yeah.
Now, Roberta, I'd like you to take us to your area precisely to describe where you are in the province of Bergamo and the Tenuta degli Angeli estate. What's the countryside like? What is happening there today? Take us into your world.
Yes, our winery is situated in Val Calepio. It's a land that comes from Ada River to Iseo Lake. It covers 70 kilometers. We are in the heart of Val Calepio. In particular, we have the vineyard on hill. So it's 350 meters on sea levels. The exposition of our vineyards is completely to the south, so that it takes the sun from the morning to the evening, and in particular is disposed on terrace. So this is the best that can guarantee our territory a very good microclimate, because these rocks, wall of rocks, keep the warm during the day and spread slowly in the night. So we have this very particular microclimate. The texture of the soil is rich of minerals, calcareous marls, argil, a lot of elements that in the wine is translated to richness of aromas, structure, complexity, because the soil was transported by glaciers in the time, and so it's very full of these mineral elements.
Okay, that's a very good description, Roberta. So we are in the province of Bergamo in Val Calepio. Is Val Calepio pretty much adjacent to Franciacorta?
Yes, it's close to Franciacorta, because it comes from Ada River to Iseo Lake, and from Iseo Lake start Franciacorta.
Okay, so Lake Iseo, one of the big of the Italian lakes. I think it's the second largest lake.
Yeah.
It's a very beautiful lake. I visited it last year. It's a very special place. And Valcalepio producing still as well as sparkling wines. Now, Roberto, tell us the story of Tenuta degli Angeli,
Yes, sure.
your family
It's
story.
a family story that started 80 years ago when my grandfather invented and patented barrels in concrete, in cement for wine. Working in this world of wine, my father had a very important experience about the world of wine. He was a pioneer of enology in Lombardy. And he created Tenuta degli Angeli to realize his dream thanks to his passion and experience 40 years ago. In 1984, he decided to buy this part of hills in Carobbio degli Angeli that was a vineyard abandoned for many years, but he know that on this hill in the ancient period was produced a very good wine that was used by the priest for the mass, and there was a very particular and unique wine. The first things that he do was that to recreate the original disposed on terrace, because everything was abandoned from many years, because he wanted to guarantee to the vineyards the good terroir for create a wine of high quality. He made the analysis of the ground to understand which kind of grapes were the best for the soul, and so he decided to produce just white wine, and in particular sparkling wine. So he involved my mother, the family, and so this dream became a reality. And so this was a very family tradition that we try to maintain and work for the best quality. And we want also to pass this important knowledge and experience also for the next generation. We are mostly women, and so I follow the production of wine, in particular with my mother, but it's a family conduction.
Okay, that's a really important story about how your grandfather, first of all, was a pioneer in creation of concrete vats for wine. Your father then had the passion for wine and understood that this area had a history of producing great wine in the past, but the vineyards had been abandoned, and he realized that potential, wanted to make great wine, and helped to shape the land into the terraces important for the creation of quality wines. I know you produce still as well as sparkling, but his vision from the earliest stage was to make sparkling wine. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, is right. And in particular, he decided to maintain the sparkling wine on permanence on his for many years. So we maintain our Brut minimum 60 months, and extra Brut 72 months. This is because our base wine, that is 100% of Chardonnay, have a very strong structure and complexity, and maintaining for this long time on yeast can enrich every flavor, aromas, and the structure of the wine. He was very longemerant, thinking about this kind of mentality that was very focused on the quality 40 years ago, because at the time, I think that in our area, every producer of wine takes care of the quantity, not the quality. but his mentality was focused on the quality. And with the passing of time, this was, I think, the best decision that my father think about, because still now that unfortunately my father passed away 20 years ago, we gone on in this road, thinking to try to produce the best wine from our grapes. And so from the harvest, we follow all the vinification to the bottle.
Okay, well, that's a very good explanation about the desire to make sparkling wines from that early stage, and also about this, what shall we call it, a change in mentality that your father brought to wines and winemaking, going for quality rather than quantity. Quantity perhaps more in that mentality of the mezzadria, where the tenant farmers, the sharecroppers, would have wanted to produce as much as possible. So it was a period of transition. I wonder, Roberta, if he was also inspired by what was happening nearby in Franciacorta.
We follow the same method of Franciacorta, so is the classic method. Our sparkling wine is Blanc de Blanc. Our enologue comes from Franciacorta. The wine is different from Franciacorta because it's different the structure of the soil, is different the exposition. Our vineyards are on a hill and disposed on terrace, so is very heroic cultivation, difference from Franciacorta. And so the method is the same, but the result of the wine, I think that is different.
Okay, so this is a 100% Chardonnay.
Yeah.
Is this from a single vineyard or is it from the vineyards you have within the area?
Yeah. We produce from the vineyards that we have in Tenuta degli Angeli. Yes.
Okay, so heroic viticulture, very labor intensive because of these steep terraces. And then afterwards, that base wine is transformed into sparkling through fermentation, secondary fermentation in the bottle of the Metodo Classico. And you also have this lengthy aging on the lees, on the lievity, to add complexity and richness.
Yeah, and you can understand that producing not so many bottles, everything is made by hand. And so also after the persistence on yeast, on levity, we take the bottle, we move, we put on pupitre, and the remouage is made by hand, by ourselves. What we do every day in our cellar. Everything is our conduction.
That's important. This artisan production, this placing the bottles on the pupitre at varying angles and giving that little twist to nudge the yeast sediment down into the neck of the bottle. The big companies, of course, are using gyro palettes to
Yeah.
turn
Mhm.
600 bottles automatically at a time, but this is still that hand remouage taking place, which you don't see that often these days anymore. Roberto, what is a cantina bomboniera? What does that mean?
Cantina Bomboniera means that is a very nice, pretty cellar created under the hill. And so you see just the door that enter into the hill. And since it was not possible to expand the cellar inside the hill, my father decided to create a disposition of every room inside the cellar to guarantee a good vinification. So from the first terrace, the grapes fall down by hole directly in the machine that press very softly the grapes that are connected to the steel barrels for the the fermentation with the control of temperature. Very close to this fermentation room, we have the part where we maintain the bottle in catasta, so on permanence on yeast. It's very nice to see because every harvest, every annata have his place. In this room of permanence on yeast, there are all the pupitre for the remuage. Then we have the part for the tasting, the part for the bottling, and for the labels. Put the labels on the bottle, and so it's very little but well organized. And so this is means bomboniera, and so pretty but very useful.
Yes, that sounds really something to see. All of that hand care, that attention to detail, that lengthy aging on the yeast is why your Brut Metodo Classico degli Angeli 2018 won this very prestigious award. You know, there's sparkling wines produced in every region of Italy now, good sparkling wines, great sparkling wines. And I was a judge at five-star wines and Wines Without Walls this year. So I know how rigorous the tasting is. And to be singled out as the best sparkling wine is a huge achievement.
Thank you.
I want to just turn to something that isn't wine, that's related perhaps because it comes from grapes, but I'm curious to know about the acciaia producing balsamo, your Balsamo degli Angeli.
Yes, Balsamo degli Angeli is produced in our Citaia. Is a product that follow the traditional method of the balsamic vinegar. We have acetaia because my father, when participated to fair with his barrel in concrete for wine, have also always as a neighbor a producer of barrels in wood for balsamic vinegar. And so he fell in love with the traditional balsamic vinegar. He decided more than 50 years ago, so in 1972, to buy his first battery to try to produce the balsamic vinegar for the family. But when he know that the tradition wanted that when a child born, the father buy a battery. Battery is a series of barrels of different kind of wood and different capacity. And the tradition wanted that when a child born, the father buy the battery, follow the production since the daughter of the son got married. And this is the present that the father give to the daughter to take cares and to pass from generation to generation. And so he fall in love with this tradition. And we are in four, so three daughters and one son. Each of us has his battery. With the time, he buy other batteries. So now we have this beautiful acetaia that is under the roof of 11th century towel. And we have 30 batteries where we produce this particular balsamic vinegar. So we call Balsamo degli Angeli because we are out of the area that is protected by the DOC, but is produced with the same method. So the aromatic grapes that are pressed, we boil the must since it became less than half, and we put inside these barrels in wood where start very slowly fermentation and acidification of this cook must, and passing inside different barrels of different kind of wood, it takes the particular smell, the particular taste became very creamy. After 12 years, we start to take just a little quantity from the barrels of 10 liters. So it became, with the passing of time, very creamy, full of very richness in the aroma, in the taste, and can enrich every dish, is from the appetizer to the sweet. And we have Balsamo degli Angeli green label that is 12 years, Balsamo degli Angeli red labels that is 30 years, and the Balsamo degli Angeli gold label that is extra old, 50 years. A very particular and precious product.
Oh my, that's a wonderful story to hear how this tradition from Emilia, from Modena and Reggio Emilia, has continued in Lombardy. I want to make it clear to our listeners that this is nothing like the industrially produced balsamic vinegar that may be available around the world, but a very special aceto balsamico tradizionale. As you say, in Modena and Reggio Emilia, they have a DOP and a special bottle, but you are following these same methods, producing it entirely from mosto cotto, this cooked grape must. So a very special product. Now, Roberta, this is a good time then to turn to the gastronomy of your area and some of the foods that pair well with your Brut degli Angeli, and also some of the ways, maybe just a few ways you use that precious balsamo.
Yes, about Brut, a sparkling wine that is very good to drink, different occasion. So as an appetizer with a lot of dishes because it is a all meal wine. For example, as a tradition, we have casoncelli, we have polenta with cheese, we have also lake fish. So it's a wine that can drink in different occasion, and we usually suggest on Parmesan cheese with some drops of our balsamic vinegar. Is a very very good appetizer, and on bread, slice of bread with extra virgin olive oil and some drops of young balsamic vinegar as a so waiting for the dinner and so as an appetizer. And the balsamic vinegar, so our balsamo degli angeli, can enrich a lot of dishes from the appetizer to the sweet. For example, on ice cream, cream ice cream is very good, but also on fresh meat, on fresh fish, on omelette, on, for example, a Parmesan rice, some drops, it became very tasty.
Okay, that's a really good description as well. I'm imagining that beautiful, just those few drops of that balsamo on a nice nugget of Parmigiano, but also enjoying your Brut degli Angeli from the beginning of a meal, from an aperitivo right through the meal, because it's full and rich in structure and able and complex enough to stand up to a variety of foods. Especially, I'm thinking of those lake fish that come from Iseo, quite beautiful lake fish. And there's a specialty I remember, the sardina di Montisola, this dried fish, which is very strong and hard in flavor. I imagine that that would also be lifted with a glass of your Brut degli Angeli.
Yeah, but also with salame. You know that in Bergamo, salame is very famous. All with cheeses. In Bergamo, we produce very important different cheeses, salami, ham, and so also with this particular product is very good.
Okay, well, that's good to know too. Now, Roberto, what about wine hospitality at Tenuta degli Angeli? Can our listeners come to visit you and discover that cantina bomboniera for themselves?
Yeah, we receive forever a lot of visitors, so tourists, but also wine lovers. What we want is to pass the culture of wine. So we want to make possible that that the visitors can learn everything about the wine, because we want to give them the possibility to understand that behind a glass of wine there is many experience, knowledge, the connection between man and nature, the waiting for a good harvest. We usually bring the visitors to visit our vineyards, going on until the top of the hill where they can enjoy a beautiful panorama. And we explain method and the characteristic of the territory. Tasting go on inside the room of our acetaya, but before the tasting they visit also the cellar, they visit the different room where they can understand every passages of our classic method. When we go then to visit Acetaya, is a very particular place, very romantic and quiet place, and they enjoy with us the tasting. So my family is composed by 5 sommeliers. My father was a sommelier, and we decided to become sommelier, and so we are all sommelier, and so we explain them the way of tasting, the characteristic of our wines. We try to give our culture to the visitors.
That sounds wonderful, Roberta. From the vineyards, actually seeing these historic vineyards, to then going into the cantina and seeing every phase that goes into the laborious method of making a metodo classico and the time it takes for that wine to age, and then finally being able to taste that in the atmospheric setting of your historic Achatai. It sounds a wonderful experience for wine lovers, and I hope that our listeners, who are, as I say, are around the world, will come to your winery, Tenuta degli Angeli, to discover this for themselves. I would certainly love to visit you, Roberta.
Thank you. Yeah, you will be welcome, and it should be we should be honored to have you in our Tenuta degli Angeli.
Well, Roberta, thank you so much for being my guest today. Thank you so much for explaining in more detail this award-winning best sparkling wine, your Brut Metodo Classico degli Angeli, and taking our listeners into your world, the descriptions of the vineyards and of the process. It's been a real pleasure meeting you. I hope the rest of the harvest goes well, and I hope we meet soon. Grazie.
Thank you. Thank you. It was a pleasure speaking with you, and I wait you for a tasting together. Thank you so much.
I look forward to that. Grazie, a presto.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode of Wine, Food and Travel with me, Marc Millon, on Italian Wine Podcast. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe right here or wherever you get your pods. Likewise, you can visit us at ItalianWinePodcast.com. Until next time, chin chin.